This is KGW News at Sunrise.
Coming up this morning, Oregon Governor Tina Kotek expected to sign a $210 million bill aimed at boosting semiconductor production in Oregon. All the details coming up.
And a recent survey found that 2/3 of American workers feel they are not getting paid fairly enough. So is it time for you to ask your boss for a raise? Well, coming up in about 15 minutes, some tips on what you should say the next time you sit across from your boss and ask for some more money.
Cheers to your efforts, by the way, this week, Devin. Great series, and we celebrate this day with these beers. It is actually National Beer Day. Did you know that, Chris McGinnis?
I do that because I listen to morning meetings. I'm glad that we're here again and hearing it again.
All right, Hopworks is where we're at this morning to celebrate this occasion. Christian Ettinger is the founder of Hopworks Brewery. They're under a new name. So we'll have more from inside their flagship location there on Southeast Powell. They used to be known as Hopworks Urban Brewery, right? For years, they've been known as that. This month, they changed it to simply Hopworks Brewery. So there you go. More from them coming up a little bit later in our show.
It is National Beer Day, and it is also Friday. Thanks for waking up with us. Chris, is it still another wet one?
A little wet out there, yeah, but the wettest part of our day is probably right now. So let's get to the weather wall real quick, and you can see radar is, of course, lit up early this morning here, but as I put this into motion over the last 3 hours, finally, we can see the back edge of the steady precipitation coming ashore here across the Oregon coast. And what that means is that extrapolating that out over the next couple of hours, you can see that that will push to the east and eventually we will shut off that rain. I did want to point out that we are snowing in the Cascade Passes this morning. Right now, government camp is wet, but the snow levels have come down just a bit. 50, last check at PDX. It's a mild start to the day. The temperatures just don't go very far. Steady rain this morning, spotty showers at lunchtime, and probably some sun breaks to finish off the day with highs in the upper 50s, guys.
Okay, looking good. Thanks, Chris. We begin with a traffic alert for you this morning. Drivers going east on the Burnside Bridge should expect delays for the next few hours. PBOT is removing an old traffic signal pole at East Burnside and MLK Jr. Boulevard. Contractors expect to be finished probably by 7 this morning. The work is part of a PBOT improvement project, which is expected to add a bus and turn lane to East Burnside between MLK and 12th Avenue.
All right, let's head to Salem now, where a bill designed to boost semiconductor production in Oregon is headed to the governor's desk, and Governor Kotek is expected to sign it.
Yeah, Senate Bill 4 passed the House yesterday. Our Pat Doris took a closer look at what exactly it'll do last night on The Story.
The bill was approved by a 44-10 vote in the House, and it passed the Senate last week. One important component of it gives Governor Tina Kotek superpowers when it comes to picking land for the semiconductor companies. Here's how the money shakes out. There's $210 million total. $190 million in state money would go to support applications by Oregon semiconductor companies who are trying to get a piece of that federal funding. $10 million would go to local governments to help prepare land for semiconductor development. And the final $10 million will go to the University Innovation Research Fund to help train the next generation of chip workers. Companies can apply for grants or loans of up to $50 million. For every $1 million they get, they have to commit to job creation within Oregon, with 65% of the jobs being permanent and paying at least the median income for their location, or they must generate at least $1.25 million in state and local revenue. And here are the details on that superpower for Governor Kotek, by the way. She will be able to issue an executive order and move a plot of land that is outside the urban growth boundary into the boundary. Now, that boundary is important because it's what limits growth on the outside edges of cities and towns in Oregon. She'll be able to do that with up to 8 sites. She'll have to take public comment for each site, and the power lasts only until the end of next year. Some of you may be thinking that surely something like this involving land use laws would be challenged in court if it becomes law. The answer is you're probably right. But an amendment to the bill narrows the scope of a challenge like that. The bill would not allow these suits to kind of toil away in the court systems for months or even years. Instead, they're fast-tracked. They head straight to the Oregon Supreme Court, which basically means if you're going to challenge the governor after she picks a plot of land, you get one chance to fight in the state's highest court. It's worth also noting that one of the co-chairs of the legislature's Committee on Semiconductors previously told us that despite the governor's superpower, land will not be taken from a farmer who does not want to sell. So on that front, we'll have to wait and see.
All right, again, that was Pat Doris reporting for us this morning. Let's talk about another bill making the rounds in Salem right now. This one aims to impose harsher penalties for street racing. After the Oregon Senate passed the bill in a 19-7 vote, it now heads to the House. If it becomes law, street racers could wind up with close to a year in prison for a first offense or a fine of more than $6,000 or both. Senate Bill 615 would also allow police to seize street racers' cars.
A nonprofit that runs an affordable housing apartment complex is tearing it down to build new units, but some tenants who still live there say they're struggling to find other housing options. Right now, most units at La Hacienda off Southeast 72nd Avenue are empty. The nonprofit Relay Resources gave out 90-day relocation notices back in December. The move-out deadline, March 31st. But some tenants haven't left. The nonprofit insists it's worked with tenants to find another affordable place to live, but the few remaining residents say they're fearful they could end up in worse housing or with no housing at all.
An eviction on the record, that would hinder my ability to get any kind of housing whatsoever.
The nonprofit gave residents up to $4,500 for a 3-bedroom, but the remaining tenants say they require more support. Relay Resources officials have said legal action is on the table, but they hope to help the few remaining residents move.
Well, all this morning we are live right there at Hopworks Brewery in Southeast Portland because today is National Beer Day, so we decided to celebrate at one of our favorite local breweries. Good morning there, Christian, the founder of Hopworks Brewery, hard at work on this Friday morning. They have been around now, hard to believe, for 15 years. I actually remember when they first opened up there on Southeast Powell. So they are celebrating year number 15 all year long, especially during this month of April. Taking a look at the malt work this morning there at what they call the mothership for Hopworks operations. They also have a location in Vancouver, and you may have noticed their location at the Portland Airport at Concourse E. More from Christian and the gang at Hopworks coming up later in the show.
And check this out, history made at opening night for the Hillsboro Hops. Ronnie Gajownik is the first woman to manage a high-level single-A team and just the second woman to manage a professional club in baseball history. Gajownik and the Hops will have to wait for that first win, though. They fell to Tri-City 9-2. The Dust Devils plated 6 runs in the 7th to get the W. The Hops' home opener is Tuesday.
I looked up at our monitor, maybe too late. Did we have the shot of her at home plate before the game, talking with the other manager and the umpire?
I don't know if I caught that either.
Yeah, it's just a cool shot to see. I don't know. I guess there have been guys that have managed teams maybe with ponytails in the past, but her ponytail was really flowing last night. It was a side shot. And there it is right there.
Oh, yes.
I was looking at her go, man, there she goes. Again, the first woman to ever manage at this level of high A baseball. So good deal last night. Unfortunately, as you just mentioned, Christine, they didn't get the win for Ronnie in her first game as manager.
Yeah, but maybe next time. We're hoping for the next one.
Tonight.
Opener comes next week, and maybe by then we'll dry out the field.
Please?
Yeah.
Please?
Please?
Yeah, I know. We're all hoping for that, right? This morning, here's a look at radar. I can tell you this morning that the steadiest, heaviest rain that we're going to experience today is happening right now. The back edge of the steady, heavy precipitation is kind of lined up right now along the I-5 corridor. And as we put this into motion over the last 3 hours, you can see that the rain really starts to break up as we get into the Coast Range, and radar showing very few returns out over the Pacific. So we're starting to diminish that range just a bit. 50 last check in Hillsboro and Portland. Big perspective across the state. Nobody terribly cold this morning. We're a few degrees warmer in most cases than yesterday and certainly the day before. Burns is at 38, Pendleton's 53, and right now the North Oregon coast in the upper 40s this morning. All right, here's the setup. One system working its way through right now. I want to go out wider and give you the bigger perspective here across the Pacific because we've got storm system number 2, which will brush us with the chance for some showers tomorrow, and storm system number 3 right out there just south of the Aleutians. That's the one, the moisture plume that comes in later during the day on Sunday and gives us what I think will be ultimately a very wet Sunday afternoon. Sunday afternoon will probably be the wettest part of our weekend ahead. Rain this morning tapering off to occasional showers. It is possible the atmosphere could be a little unstable this afternoon, especially if we see enough sun breaks, that we could get a thunderstorm or two. Futurecast is pinpointing at least one of those right there in Clackamas County. Don't get too fixated on that location. That could happen anywhere up and down the I-5 corridor. A break in the rain overnight. Saturday we get brushed with a shower or two. Any rain that falls tomorrow would be pretty light. Sunday, we get brushed with some showers in the morning, but Sunday afternoon and Sunday night, that's what Futurecast is targeting as the next round of pretty steady, heavy rain. And so the rainfall, we don't see a lot between now and then, but it really picks up late Sunday afternoon, Sunday night. So putting all that together, we could see another inch of rain over the next day and a half here, 2 days. Futurecast has the I-5 corridor generally in the mid to upper 50s today. The weekend forecast, slight chance of rain tomorrow. Rain redeveloping Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, and that'll be quite heavy. And as we look at the 7-day forecast, it's on and off wet here for the next few days. Temperatures remain quite a bit below average, especially for the start of next work week. Devin?
All right, Chris. Hey, next time you want to ask for a pay raise, I got 2 words you should use in that negotiation. Plus, when is a good time to ask for one? We're going to talk about how to get you a bump in pay coming up in just a couple minutes.